Florian Wirtz to Liverpool. I hold my hands up. I'll be damned. I'll be darned. We screwed up. I was part of the people that said, Liverpool, can you bring in big names? Can you break the bank? Okay, I apologize. I'm under arrest. I understand. Today in this video, we are going to be discussing, obviously, the Liverpool credit that is due. Also, the change in dynamics in the tactics and the way that Wirtz will impact this Liverpool team in the way that they'll play. And also, of course, the gamble, the issues, the injuries. Will he be able to cope with the physicalities? We'll get into that. And also, of course, the repercussions on the rest of the league. New signing, big name. How will Chelsea respond? How will individuals like Saka and Foden and Palmer respond? So let's get into it. Florian Wirtz has signed for Liverpool. Now, listen, there's no question, in my opinion, about the talent and the ability that is coming into the Premier League. This is a player that has very much demonstrated for many years now that he is one of the best in his position. There's no question, there's no doubt about that. I have to be very honest. This is very much reminding me of when Kevin De Bruyne came from Wolfsburg to Manchester City. Similar age, similar type influence on the Bundesliga. Similar in many ways playing style, but slightly different. It's a player that I believe comes in and immediately impacts and becomes one of the best players in the league outrightly. He goes straight into the Saka conversations with the likes of Palmer and other young, talented top players in this league. Foden, if he gets his hat back in the ring. And you have to give Liverpool credit for that, because so much of the time we talk about Liverpool bringing in developing players, whether that be Salah, Mane, Firmino, whether they bring in a Henderson or Wijnaldum or Fabinho from Monaco, Robertson from Hull City. Good business, strong, good business that's brought them lots of success. But very rarely do we talk about Liverpool bringing in one of the big names, a Galactico. That's basically what this is. Because if he goes to Real Madrid, it's a Galactico. So we have to talk about it in those terms. This is one of the best players in his position on the planet. He put up double digits in terms of goals and assists statistically in back-to-back seasons. We know the play style. He's a footballer's footballer. This is not an efficiency player. Another player that maybe you'd look at Liverpool for, someone that's a bit more uneasy on the eye, but puts up the numbers. Efficiency. Just, a driller. A job that has to be done. No, this is flair. This is fluidity. This is easy on the eye. This is nutmegs. This is ball carrying. This is dribbling. This is almost Philippe Coutinho type vibes in terms of the left side of that attacking midfield area. He's bringing some sexy football back to Anfield. So you have to give the credit for the fact that it's a surprise that they've not only beaten Bayern Munich, but they've beaten Man City. I know Man City don't want to hear that, but that would have been your ideal Kevin De Bruyne replacement. They've beaten you both to the signing. And whether that's Slot having more pull than company, whether that's the training facilities being more modernized and more, enticing for him to take that position at Liverpool. I also believe just making this make sense, and I said it on the Big Six. Why on earth would Florian Wirtz go to Bayern Munich when he already won the league unbeaten with Bayer Leverkusen to stat pad plates with Elise, Musiala and Kane when he can rewrite his own history and legacy? And listen, it's about being competitive. I understand that Bayern Munich are the biggest club in Germany, but its Bundesliga is not the most competitive league. And 9 out of the last 10 Bundesliga titles will tell you that in regards to Bayern Munich lifting everything. They have monopolized that league. And I said it, and some people didn't agree with it. Even though he's a German player, Michael Ballack, I believe, said he wished he moved to Chelsea more within his prime for this very reason. If you want to make history, if you want to certify and make it abundantly clear what your legacy is, going up against more competitive teams for titles, and it makes it a lot more of a compelling argument for you to be considered one of the best. Now, I'm not saying there hasn't been many players that have been one of the best, whether it's Philipp Lahm, whether it's Thomas Müller, whether it's, Manuel Neuer, Lewandowski. All these guys have mashed work at Bayern Munich. But the sport is not only just about your ability, it's about who you go up against in those big games. And if you've monopolized the league and you're always expected to win and you don't have that fierce, direct competition on an even playing field year in, year out, it's very difficult for you to kind of showboat and strut your stuff. Elise is an incredible player. but you don't really hear about his name for Ballon d'Or for this very reason, in my opinion. If you can go up against Manchester City's, go up against maybe potentially a better version of Chelsea, a better version of Arsenal, a better version of Man United, Tottenham when they recover, Champions League, you can really make history. And this is what it's all about. And this is why I like the move. I don't like that he's joining Liverpool as a Chelsea fan, because it does make us have to wake up and smell the coffee, and we'll get to that in a minute. But I like the fact that he's got the cojones. He's got the bravery to step outside his comfort zone and say, do you know what? I'm coming to the Premier League, a more physical league, a more competitive league. I'm going to Liverpool and I'm going to make it my team. When Salah is aging and will at some point need to hand over the keys, I'm going to take the keys, unlock the door, literally and metaphorically. So I'm really excited for the fact that he's got that within him. Don't like it's Liverpool, but listen, you can't have everybody at your club. Now, what does this do for the system? What does this do for the system? Well, I'll tell you what it does for the system. I've actually been kind of working a couple of things, and I'm thinking for Slot, because of the fullbacks, and it was very interesting to see what type of fullbacks he was going to go for. Because if it was a Hato at left back coming into a back three, and it was a Frimpong bombing forward into a right wing, maybe it would have been a 3 to start with. But I'm seeing Kirkes. I'm seeing Frimpong in the building. I'm seeing overlapping fullbacks. I'm seeing young Trent and Robertson under Klopp. So now I'm thinking that midfield 3, like you did under Klopp, is going to be full of hard workers, grafters, and guys that are going to potentially help defend, because most managers like to defend with a 5 and attack with a 5. So maybe it is Van Dijk and Konate in front of, with McAllister, Szoboszlai and Gravenberch in front. And then the fullbacks can go forward. And Frimpong is known for his attacking attributes, less known for his defense. And we know Salah's not really doing as much defensively this last season and going into next season because of his age and relying on the goals. And he said that publicly in his interviews. So where does Wirtz go in? Like I said, 4-3-1-2, Wirtz in the 10, Salah and Gakpo up front, potentially, right? Because Gakpo can get goals, Gakpo can come in off that left, Salah can come off that right, and then you've got Wirtz as like your lock picker in the 10. Or you got a diamond, and it's similar. You've got Wirtz in that 10. You've got Gravenberch as your 6. McAllister and Szoboszlai as your 8s. But some people will say potentially Wirtz could play on the left. I do question it, because I feel like your chance creation may be in the middle. You should kind of maybe build the team around him a little bit. Have him central. Have everything go through him. You've got Diaz. You've got Gakpo that can play on the left. You need someone up front. And this is where the question marks and the concern comes in. The doubt that I had earlier. How much does this impact Liverpool's transfer budget going forward? Because it's going to be over 100 million as a total package. That's potentially why Man City walked away. Who knows? But what's that going to do to your transfer budget? Are you going to be able to get the striker that you need to replace Núñez, who's not cut it? To replace Jota, who has injury concerns and didn't really put up the statistics this season? To actually reap the rewards of the extra chance creation that you've now got on top of Salah, and now with Florian Wirtz, a player that is going to bring that passing ability, that weight of pass, that dribbling, dropping, dribbling to break lines and go through defenses to replace what you're losing in Trent from chance creation. But who's going to finish their dinner? Wirtz, as the statistics show, double digits in back-to-back campaigns. He will add goals to this team, but you still need people that are going to put the ball in the back of the net. Gakpo can do that, but you need a striker. And what type of shopping for strikers are you going to be doing? Is it going to be still going for one of the big names that are going to cost upwards of 60, 70 mil? Or are we going to potentially see Mbuemos and Matetas, who Premier League proven, have done their job, done their work, double digits, maybe even Wissa, I don't know, off the bench, plan B. But these players, Mbuemo and Mateta in particular, have got 1 year left on their contract. Maybe Liverpool sense an opportunity. They smell something. Because Liverpool love to smell. Liverpool love to smell an opportunity. If they see a McAllister release clause, if they see someone running out, with a year left, if they see some sort of thing that they can work with just to make the negotiation sweeter, they'll get it done. This has been their big signing, but could they just find something to, soften the blow of the extreme amount of cash they're about to put down on Wirtz? Now, the gamble is the injuries, because he did have a cruciate ligament injury that kept him out for a long time in 21-22, I believe. However, the player has recovered from that. It's like when Van Dijk got the massive injury. He recovered, and then he still shows that he can put out some of the best seasons of his career. So I don't think the issue is Florian Wirtz got a massive injury 3 years ago and we're not sure how or what his level will be. I think the issue could be because the Premier League is more physical, and since that injury, he's just picked up little niggles that have kept him out for a game or two here and there, and he's just had loads of little injuries, that maybe the Premier League being more physical, being more, tenacious, tenacity, aggressive, whatever, it's not really about his size. It's not really, we've seen Bernardo Silva's come here. We've seen David Silva's come here. We've seen Juan Mata's come here. Petite little players can come here and mash work. It's just about whether or not those little injuries, those little accumulating injuries will become slightly bigger accumulating injuries, because make no mistake, when you have a player like this who loves a nutmeg, loves a little cheeky, one round the corner, little carrier, little dribbler, I know this from watching Hazard. These defenders will get stuck into you. They won't have a way of stopping you outside of clamping you and sending you to the floor, making you eat grass. And as long as Wirtz is physically ready and mentally ready for that, then from an ability standpoint, there should really be no issues, because the kid is marvelous. When you watch him, you just see him gliding through players. You see him finishing, array of different finishes in his bag. You see a weight of pass. You see him doing everything that you need to do in that position to change games and influence games and be a game changer, decider, right? So the other concern was the money. Like I said earlier, the money. How does that impact the budget? But from a player standpoint, it does remind me of De Bruyne coming from Wolfsburg. It does remind me of Hazard coming from Lille to Chelsea after Champions League. It's just a big name. It's a big name and it's a big player. And I feel like Liverpool, after winning the league, Kirkes is not done, but they're getting the fullbacks. They need the striker. Some people say centre mid, DM, maybe Endo replacement centre back. Liverpool are showing that they're very serious and they're on smoke going into next season. They smell blood. They said, we've got one Premier League title. We know Van Dijk and Salah deserve 3-4 based upon their Premier League legacies, what they've achieved, what they've done. Let's go get it. And now it's up to the rest of the Premier League to respond with serious players coming through the door. There are big names up for grabs, big names that are moving around. There's Osimhen's, there's Gyökeres, there's Zubimendi already signed for Arsenal, there's Reindeer, at AC Milan, potentially to City. Rafael Leao, 9th place AC Milan at the moment. Is he going to stand for that? Is he going to want to make a move? Gyökeres, if I haven't mentioned him already. Cherky's available. There's so many players that are moving about potentially. Premier League teams at the top end, and I'm more talking Chelsea, Arsenal, and Man City. If they have aspirations of trying to win Premier Leagues in the next couple of years, they need to be moving. Their own individuals like Palmer, like Foden, have got to resurrect themselves and revive and respond. Saka has been consistent for years, and they've got to respond in the transfer market, because Liverpool have got their money now. They didn't spend last summer. They've always been financially very responsible, but they've got money to spend. And they're going to make some sales. And their manager has already shown, with one Premier League title in the bag in one season, he's got a bit of pull. Going up against Kompany is not really anything mad, because we know Kompany is very much a new kid on the block in regards to that. Apparently his tactical plans and his ideas didn't come across very well to Wirtz. Training facilities didn't help. The way that Bayern Munich carried out the kind of PR publicly didn't really help. All of these little things had their own consequences, as you could say, for Wirtz then deciding and choosing to join Liverpool and all of the pluses that they brought to the table. But the pull is there, and this signing indicates that, but also Man United being in the position they're in indicates that. That has an effect. When Man United are that bad, it propels Liverpool even more, because now you're not going up against your closest, nearest and dearest rivals historically in the country in terms of success and club size for big players. Man United can't talk to Liverpool right now in terms of transfer. There is no Pogba. There is no Zlatan Ibrahimovic. There is no Schweinsteiger. There is no Di Maria for Manchester United this summer. They don't have the money. They don't have the European qualification. They don't have the pool. They don't have the stability, the manager, the playing group, the environment, the rats, the roof. Liverpool, head and shoulders in a different position. Chasing 21, stable team, stable fan base, stable manager, stable money situation, European football. It's a project. But is it? Because they just started it with a win. So listen, the situation has never been more important for others to step up to the plate and start moving. Florian Wirtz is a Liverpool player, and I have no doubt, unfortunately, he's going to be a success as long as he can handle the physicality and the kicks and the collide. And Liverpool make sure that this isn't their last signing, because they do need that left back confirmed. They do need that striker and a couple of other touch-ups. They've already got the goalkeeper, don't forget, from Valencia. It ain't looking good, bruv. Credit where it's due. My club, please respond. Please respond immediately. As soon as we qualify for the Champions League on Sunday, if we haven't already by the time this drops, make sure that you have responded to the violence that has happened in Liverpool. Thank you very much. Until next time, big up your damn selves. In a bit, people. Peace.